Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. It's been a hectic off-season, so let's recap all of the moves up to this point. We'll kind of break this up into sections. Obviously, free agency, Robert Quinn, Jimmy Graham, Ted Ginn. You bring back Danny Trevathan. We'll dive deeper into free agency in a little bit. Traded for Nick Foles, declined Mitch Trubisky's option. What does that mean at quarterback? And then, of course, the NFL draft, where Chicago added 7 players and then drafted 7 undrafted free agents. So it's been a hectic offseason. Lots of changes. Of course, the coaching staff changes as well. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but the Bears revamped this offensive staff with 4 new coaches. So should be a bit of a different look in 2020 for the Chicago Bears. Before we dive in, get deeper into this video, has Chicago gotten better or worse this offseason? What do you guys think? Type B for better, type W for worse. Go ahead and cast your votes down below. Let's start with Bears free agency look. It was a lot of different things going on, right? The Bears didn't enter free agency with a lot of cap space, but they made some moves to free up some cap space and obviously signed some key guys, including Robert Quinn, who I think was my favorite free agent signing. Yeah, it's a little expensive, 5 years and $70 million, but only $30 million is guaranteed, so it's basically a 2+3 contract. Chicago can certainly get out of it after 2 years for not too much dead cap money. I think he's the ideal secondary pass rusher opposite of Khalil Mack. We saw it in Dallas last year next to DeMarcus Lawrence. Robert Quinn was able to take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities, and I think that's what the Bears are hoping for here and expect him to do in Chicago. 11.5 sacks last year, 13 tackles for loss, couple of forced fumbles. If Quinn gives you 8, 9, 10 sacks opposite of Khalil Mack and helps Mack's production go back up too, I think that is a win-win for the Chicago Bears. Also, Jimmy Graham, another key offseason signing. Not what he once was, but look, I think he's going to be a good red zone option, good receiving tight end for the Bears. Doesn't have the speed he once did, but I still think he can be productive. And then bringing back Danny Trevathan. Chicago had to keep either Trevathan or Nick Kwiatkoski. They opted for the veteran, key locker room guy, vocal leader on that defense. If he could stay healthy, he should be an anchor on this defense for the next several years. What was your favorite free agent signing in 2020? Go ahead and let me know. We'll get into some of the lesser guys here in just a little bit. So those were some of the key guys. For me, very simple. I think it is Robert Quinn. Do you guys follow me on Twitter? If you don't, I'm 23 followers away from 1,100. Get me to 1.1 thousand Twitter followers, and we're going to do a mailbag very soon, so follow me on Twitter and message me or DM me your questions, or just tweet me, whatever. You don't have to slide in the DMs. It's all good. Just tweet at me your Bears questions. I'm going to prioritize Twitter questions on the next mailbag, so go ahead and follow me on Twitter at HGrahamNFL and send me your Bears question for our upcoming Q&A. Some other signings that the Bears made, some notable ones. Ted Ginn Jr., I think he offers some speed to this offense. Good veteran there. Demetrius Harris, some depth at tight end. Jermaine Ifedi, who will probably compete for the starting right guard job if the Bears don't sign any more offensive linemen. Artie Burns, Jordan Lucas, some depth players in the secondary. Those guys were certainly needed as well. Here were kind of the losses in free agency. Nick Kwiatkoski, who I mentioned, Prince Amukamara, who they released, Leonard Floyd, Taylor Gabriel as well. All 3 of those guys were released, as was Trey Burton. Gabriel and Amukamara haven't landed yet. Leonard Floyd did sign with the Rams. And then Clinton-Dix decided to sign with the Dallas Cowboys. So, grade the Bears 2020 free agency A, B, C, D, or F. Want to verbally mention too, Tashaun Gipson was recently signed, so he kind of fills the void left by Clinton-Dix. Didn't want to leave that out of there. So A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the free agency only part of the offseason. Right now, we'll grade the other sections coming up on the show. Like the Nick Foles trade, we can grade that one here in a little bit. That was kind of the other step intertwined with free agency. It wasn't technically a free agency acquisition. It was a trade. As you guys know, the Bears sent over a fourth-round comp pick to Jacksonville for Nick Foles. That was the trade there for the Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. $21 million guaranteed. The restructuring of the contract is nice. It's basically 3 years and $24 million, but I know hindsight's 2020, but Andy Dalton signing for $3 million with up to $7 million guaranteed on a one-year deal with Dallas is a little bit interesting to me. So you kind of wonder if the Bears should have waited. But look, Nick Foles, familiar with the staff. He does have a Super Bowl. I'm excited about the competition between him and Mitchell Trubisky. I do think Nick Foles will win it. He just hasn't been a full-time starting quarterback in quite a while. You see the numbers right there. That's because he's been a backup primarily in Philadelphia, then a part-time starter in Jacksonville this past season. Grade the Nick Foles trade, A, B, C, D, or F. Feel free to type TBD, as in to be determined, because we'll see, right? A, he's got to win the job, and B, we got to see how he performs. So as of now, I'm in the C+, B- range. We'll see how it all plays out moving forward. I want you guys to take advantage of this Mother's Day deal. We're 6 days away, so don't wait until the last minute. Go to chatsports.com/mom and get 15% off flowers. We got gifts, chocolates, all kinds of stuff at chatsports.com/mom. Make your mother feel special on Mother's Day. They do so much for us. I know my mom means the world to me. I'm going to get her some flowers. I think you guys should do that as well. chatsports.com/mom. That is the link. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description to take advantage of that 15% off sale right now with Pro Flowers. Next one here, the draft. 7 draft picks for the Chicago Bears. As you guys know, Chicago didn't have a first-round pick, but they did have a couple of nice second-round picks, starting with Cole Kmet at number 43 overall. I thought maybe they'd go in a different direction here, but they valued Kmet. It was clear in the draft process they felt highly about this kid. A lot of mock drafts that had them taking Kmet at this spot, and that's what they ended up doing. He was the best tight end in a weaker draft class for that position. I think he contributes right away, and I think he's your long-term answer as the tight end number 1. And Jaylon Johnson, I think, is a day 1 starter as your number 2 cornerback, opposite of Kyle Fuller. I like him a lot coming out of Utah. Had a shoulder problem this past year, but was still productive. 2 interceptions, 11 pass breakups. Thought the value was excellent at pick number 50, and it fills a need after releasing Prince Amukamara. So I thought both of these picks were solid for Chicago in the second round. Now, I'm not going to talk about better career, better player, or anything like that. Who will have the bigger impact in 2020? Type K for Kmet, type J for Johnson. Which Bears rookie in the second round will have a bigger impact as a rookie this season? The other draft picks were as follows. Obviously, Trevis Gipson, the edge rusher out of Tulsa. Kindle Vildor, the corner out of Georgia Southern. I think he'll get some reps at nickel. Could be your long-term answer there behind Buster Screen. Darnell Mooney, who I like a lot. Arlington Hambright, Lachavious Simmons, a couple of offensive linemen. But I think Mooney has a real chance to contribute. Maybe not a ton as a rookie now that they've signed Ted Ginn Jr., but down the road, I think he's got a real shot. Good speed. Those 2018 numbers, his 2018 season as a whole is very intriguing to me. 21 yards a catch, almost 1,000 yards on 48 catches, 8 touchdowns as well. I'm intrigued by this kid. He's got some big-time straight-line speed. I think he could be kind of a wide receiver number 3 down the road in this offense, and he brings an element the Bears don't have, and that is speed. So I'm excited to see what this kid can do over the next couple of years. Grade the Bears 2020 NFL Draft, A, B, C, D, or F. Grade it fairly, too, because Bears didn't have a first-round pick or a third or a fourth. I was in the B- range. I'm sticking to that. I think it was above average. Not the best. Didn't take an offensive lineman until round 7, but pretty good overall. We hope we do a pretty good job here at Chicago Bears Now. I think you guys think we do because we're growing like crazy. We're 21 subscribers away from 7K, so hit that big red button and turn on notifications. Get us to 7,000 by the end of the day today. I think that's pretty reasonable. Hit the sub button. More subs equals more videos. It's pretty simple how this works. We'll have the latest rumors, news, mailbags, and all kinds of stuff all off-season long. And then, of course, the UDFA signings, 11 in total for the Chicago Bears. As we sit right now, they've added a couple since I did my UDFA tracker video after the NFL draft. I'm intrigued by a couple of these guys, including, obviously, Ledarius Mack, the younger brother of Khalil Mack. Who wouldn't be intrigued by getting Khalil Mack's brother? Look, he's not going to be Khalil Mack. He's probably going to be a special teams guy, especially early on. I think he's a prime practice squad candidate. But, hey, he had 8 sacks this past year for Buffalo, so he was a productive player in college. as was Khalil Mack. Now, you put their senior season side by side. He's not quite his older brother, but still 8 sacks in comparison to 10.5. Had 11 tackles for loss as well. He's not the 3-down player Khalil Mack was, and I think that's been made clear by the total tackles there. But look, he's got a chance to stick. His special teams role will determine if he can make the final roster, but I think for sure he's a practice squad candidate at the very least. Who's been your favorite UDFA signing so far? Go ahead and let me know. I think a lot of you guys will say Ledarius Mack, but to be fair, there were some other decent ones that I'm intrigued by as well. Here were the 10 other ones. Artavis Pierce, I think he's got a real shot to make the team. The Bears need another running back. He was productive at Oregon State. They also signed Napoleon Maxwell recently. Ahmad Wagner, the wide receiver / tight end out of Kentucky. He's like 6'5", 230 pounds. He's an intriguing athlete. Bedard Tror, and then Dieter Iselin out of Yale as well on the offensive line. Lee Autry was a defensive tackle out of Mississippi State that they recently added. Trevon McSwain, Laquel London, Rashad Smith, and Keandre Jones, a couple of linebackers there. Smith, very productive at Florida Atlantic. Shout out Laquel London for tweeting me the other day. I know you're watching, Laquel. I know you're 300 pounds. You're a big boy. You're not that 280 that your college team website listed you as. I got you, dude. Grade the Bears offseason as a whole. We've gone through UDFAs. We've gone through draft picks, free agency, the Nick Foles trade. Combine it all. What are you doing? What are you giving this grade? I'm somewhere in the B range. I think the Bears have improved. I think they've gotten better. I wish they would have done more on offensive line. Maybe they still will. But as of now, they have not done a ton in that area, so I can't give it more than a B. But overall, pretty darn good. And the reasons I think the Bears will improve in 2020, simple. These 3 reasons. Competition at quarterback, extra pass rush help, you get Robert Quinn in there, you draft Trevis Gipson. Those guys should help Khalil Mack. And then competent tight ends. You draft Cole Kmet and you sign Jimmy Graham. Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, competition is healthy. It'll bring out the best out of each other, hopefully. And if the Bears get better quarterback play in 2020, they should be a playoff team.